my channel. My name is Alex and on today's video we're going to be doing a Trimester One update. As you may know, I have only just started my channel, so a lot of my first trimester was off camera, so I thought today would be a fantastic way for us to have a sit down, get to know each other a bit better, and for me to update you all on what you've missed out on. As you may or may not know, I'm currently 24 weeks, so I'm quite solidly into my second trimester. But I have got my trusty phone with me today with all of the notes I've taken throughout my first 12 to 14 weeks. And I wanted to make sure that I kind of expressed that and shared my experiences to hopefully help you guys out and get us all up to date on where I started off, and we can share the rest of the journey together. So to start this off, let's go back to how I found out I was pregnant and how it all came about. In November of 2019, my partner Hendrix and I were over in Canada on a 4-week bucket list trip. We were over there exploring the country, and in doing that we decided we would really look into what we wanted to achieve in the next year and where we were headed as a couple and individually, and the conclusion of that was that we were both very much on the same page, that we really wanted to become parents this year. We wanted to take our young family with us as we expanded and kept traveling, so that's what we decided we were going to do. Fast forwarding 4 weeks from there, we arrived home from our holiday. We went straight back into work and were preparing for Christmas period here. So it was really hot in Western Australia when we got home. It was about 40 degrees. So you can imagine coming from the Rockies in Canada to a hot summer in Perth. It was quite a big change for our bodies, and unfortunately I got really unwell and got a chest infection, and it took me 2 or 3 weeks to really recover and get myself back to being a human being once I returned home. So once the illness had passed, I started to really notice a big difference in just how I was normally. I had a lot of trouble with my sleeping. I had a lot of trouble with dreaming consistently and like waking myself up about these dreams. So that was something I'd never experienced before, but became like a daily occurrence. I noticed a massive change in the skin on my face. Every morning I'd get like a waxy feeling in my pore area. I'd get a rash on my cheeks that was really pink in pigment, and it was really like raised in texture, and it was just an odd rash looking thing, and it was quite noticeable, and my family and my partner noticed it. So that was something I started to watch, and the biggest thing for me, and I'm sure it's the same for many other girls, was my bust expanded massively. I got overnight I grew like 3 sizes. I was really sensitive. Even in the shower, if I bumped myself, it was quite painful. So that was something that really got my attention, and that was kind of the turning point that sent me into the pharmacy to get those pregnancy tests. So as you may have gathered by now, I am not the most experienced in all of this stuff, and it is my first time. So I went in and I got those pink and white tests with the lines. I thought that you had to have 2 really bold lines when you did a test for it to be positive. But I did have faint lines, so I just kind of ignored it. Little did I know that that actually was a clear reading of a positive. So New Year's Eve, a few days later, I finished work, went to the pharmacy and got those clear blue ones with the big yes or no screen markers, and did it again. Waited for my partner to come home from work, and we both kind of sat there looking at each other, wondering what was going to happen. And in the end, the screen popped up with a big yes. We were both over the moon. I was in utter shock, but he was at let's do this phase. So that was a really exciting way to find out. And from there, we progressed and headed off to the doctors. Once we got to the doctors, I had to do a blood test and a urine test. The blood test was to test all my levels blood-wise and get an understanding of my health overall, and also to test if the chemical which is found in pregnancy came up in my system. And I also did a urine test, which is just the same as a pee test with the stick, but it's at a doctor's level. Both of those came up with yes, and obviously the doctor was really comfortable with that answer even without sizing screen. So he deemed us to be 7.5 weeks pregnant at that phase, and we left the office and moved into our New Year's Eve, knowing we were going to be new parents, which was a big shock at that phase, but we were really excited and kind of more settled in the answer we had gotten through the doctor. Alright, so we'll move forward a couple of days, and that was when I went and did my pre-screening ultrasound. And if you're not sure what that is, neither did I. they sent me in to the ultrasound clinic where the ultrasound team obviously did their thing, and what we saw on the screen was a tiny little circle with a heartbeat. In that image, it was the embryo of our baby. It had a clear heartbeat. It was obviously living, as they wrote in the report, and it had everything starting to develop as it should. And from there, the ultrasound team were able to give us an exact due date. They were able to tell us exactly how old and how far along we were in. So we're actually only 6 weeks and 5 days as opposed to 7 weeks, which the initial doctor found from the blood test, but sometimes it's a little inaccurate on the blood side. So from there, we had seen it. I'll pop the photos up in the corner, and it was all very exciting at that stage. So it was full steam ahead, getting ready and starting the exciting task of telling our families. If you know us, you will know that I'm very close to my family, and Hendrix is very close to my family also. So we were a bit cheeky and we told our parents the day we did our P test, right? And then we told our siblings, we told his family over in New Zealand, but it was only after the screening that we told our extended family members that are really close to us, which was super exciting. And it was so beautiful, the support and love we were greeted with. Everyone was so happy for us, and it was probably one of the highlights of the whole experience was being able to tell our family that we were going to be bringing a new member into the family. Following on from seeing our doctors for the first time and getting the ultrasound done, I did 4 main things straight off the bat that have made this pregnancy a lot more settled for me than I would have expected. I'll give you those 4 things as they meant a lot to me and they've helped so much. So firstly, I went and found myself midwives I really liked, midwives I trusted, and made sure I had monthly appointments booked in, because I found it really good to have that straight connection. You know your people and you know what's going on, so you always feel that support system from the medical side of things. I secondly went and saw my nutritionist. She has looked after me for a couple of years now, as I've had a lot of insulin problems. But I thought it really important to take my bloods to her, show her my vitamins and minerals kind of blood sheet, and let her kind of put together a supplement structure for me to make sure that anything I was lacking, the baby was receiving through the supplements she chose. And she also kind of put together some food plans for me to make sure that I was eating a really vast variety of food and keeping my calories to the levels that she wanted them at. Thirdly, my training. I am a personal trainer, but I am used to doing heavyweight training and electronic muscle stimulation, as that's a part of our job. Moving into pregnancy, you can't do that anymore, so I asked my partner, who's a trainer, to take me on as a client and create a different type of training program for me that was more suitable to pregnancy. As Hendrix has worked with a lot of pregnant women before, I was in great hands, and he put together a boxing structure for me, which is one-on-one with both of us and low contact in the sense that there's no sparring. So I do really enjoy that. It's a really good way to keep my cardio up and keep the blood moving through my body, but not putting myself under too much strain. I do body weight exercises and resistance bands instead of doing weights. And I also do a lot more walking because I feel like I need to keep my body mobile, keep my hips moving and things like that. And that's something that I thought from day one I needed to implement, and it has been super effective for me so far. And last but not least, the 4th thing I did, and something that's just blown my mind to how effective it's been, is I downloaded the app What to Expect When Expecting. I thought, what's a silly app gonna do? But mindset wise, it's been amazing. It's helped me understand the size of my baby, what's going on with the development of the baby, what my symptoms will be, and anything else that they put up, like their blogs and stuff. It's awesome. It kind of gives you areas to start researching and things to kind of have a look through, and it also gives you that peace of mind knowing when you need to go get medical help and when it's just normal day-to-day differences in pregnancy. So I found those 4 things incredibly helpful, and if I were you and this was your first time, I would make sure that that was one of the first things I did, because having a really strong support team around you and knowing what's needed of you makes for a really relaxed, stressless pregnancy, especially in the first trimester when you're already on edge a little bit, as it's the higher risk point of your pregnancy. Moving on from there, let's get to the signs and symptoms I have been going throughout the first trimester. Unfortunately for some, I understand nausea, vomiting and all the horrific things you read about are part and parcel of your pregnancy, but I am so lucky to be one of those girls who hasn't had anything. Apart from the first few things at the start of the pregnancy, the only real symptoms or side effects I've kind of had from being pregnant were higher levels of fatigue. I've had a few more mood swings than usual. At the start of my pregnancy, in the first 8 weeks, I lost about 6.5, 7 kilos, like straight off the bat. It didn't change anything. It was obviously what my body wanted and needed. So that was something I didn't expect. And throughout the first trimester, I've only gained or lost 500-600 grams, and that just balances out week by week. So that's something I wasn't expecting, but hey, that's happened for me so far. I have had a few little headaches here and there, which were a little bit more extravagant than usual. And I have, in the last few weeks of the trimester, had ligament stretching and aches and pains in my back, which are unusual for me. I've never really had any of those before, but it is something that I noticed. Other than that, it's been really easygoing. I felt very lucky compared to a lot of people. And yeah, there's nothing really exciting to relay on that. I've been pretty cruisy. Okay, so to finish off my first trimester, the most exciting, amazing, best part of the whole thing was my 12-week ultrasound. I got sent in for an ultrasound by option in Australia. So my midwives asked me if I wanted to go through, as it isn't under our public system anymore, to do a 12-week scan. That is something you can opt and you can purchase individually. So I'm going public due to my own personal choices. So I paid for that and I went in, and it was the best thing I ever did. Going in and seeing your little human, as a little human, growing, having a heartbeat, having arms and legs, having all their fingers and toes, being super tiny, and knowing that you actually have a human inside of you, it makes everything worth it. I'll pop my photo up in the corner as well so you can see what I saw. But that was the point where all of my stresses, all of the mindset issues I had had when it came to don't be negative but be cautious, just disappeared, and the excitement just flooded in. And now I'm in that second trimester. It's insane. I'm so excited, but for the first 12-14 weeks I was a little bit touchy and sensitive and maybe a little bit reserved to getting too excited, as I was being cautious. But that photo just kind of made for the best end to the first trimester ever. Okay, so let's finish up this video here. I understand that it hasn't been the longest, most extravagant thing in the world, but I thought it was really cool to be able to pass on what I've learned, what I've experienced, kind of give you an update as to where I am. So I will be doing another 2 videos for this pregnancy, trimester 2 and trimester 3, and I will be doing a birth vlog. But I thought that this one should be included as it is an important part, even if I haven't got all the fun stuff just yet recorded. I do want to thank you very much for watching, and especially for those people who jumped on my first video to subscribe, comment, leave likes. It meant a lot. It is a very exciting, scary thing for me to take on this channel, and your support means the world. If you are new, welcome. I'm really glad you took the time to watch this. And if it's something you would like to continue to be a part of, please subscribe, leave comments and opinions in the bottom. Make sure that you let me know if you want me to record something so that I can share my life how you want to see it. And thank you again for watching. I know I've said that a few times now, but it means a lot, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.